we speak of friendship, we speak of how we would like it to be. Words like inseparable, loyal, devoted, true, and forever usually cloud our perception. Friend is one of those words that has more than one definition. The first definition of friend in Webster's dictionary is a person attached to another by respect or affection. Another definition is simply acquaintance. There is a shocking difference between these two definitions. The first time I read the acquaintance definition of friend, a shockwave of reality hit me. I realized only then that years ago I had created my own definition of friend and expected everyone to live up to my own interpretation. Wrong. The government has a 98% conviction rate. The convicts you are about to meet are a part of that 98%. Many were convicted by a testimony of a friend. Our stories are real. As you listen, don't be surprised if you have more in common with us than you thought.
We're on the subject of friends today. Let me take a few minutes of your time to tell you a little what a friend means to me. A real sore subject. When I was a kid, my kid brother was my best friend. We did everything together. Everything. We had a lot of fun, but we were constantly in trouble. When I was about 10 or 11 years old, I realized one day I was eventually going to jail if I didn't change. At the time, change was out of the question. I didn't want to change. At the same time, I didn't want my brother to be locked up with me. That's when I quit letting him run with me. After we quit running together, I was pretty much a loner. For years, I didn't let anybody get too close. I had plenty of acquaintances, but no one I called a close friend. I was the kid mothers told their kids to stay away from. Eventually, I did end up in prison. But by 1977, I was out, and I stayed out for 10 years. In that time, I gathered around me what seemed like many good friends. One of them I watched grow up. He was like a little brother. He got busted on a possession charge in 1986, and to keep from going to jail, he went to work for the police. I had a pretty good business at the time, welding and general mechanics. Then one day this friend of mine, he even called me brother, came to me with an insurance deal. I didn't need the money he offered, but he needed the engine out of a pickup. He had someone who wanted to collect insurance on his truck. 30 minutes work, nothing to it. I told him to bring it on over to my garage. 20 minutes later, I had police from 5 different valley and state jurisdictions in my yard arresting me on a sting operation that took in 160 people all over Phoenix that morning. I got 5 years. My little brother got probation. My story isn't unique. I'd say 9 out of 10 people are in prison because a friend ended up telling on them. Remember, it's usually a friend that's close enough to you to know what you're doing. With these new laws and outrageous sentences they're handing out, you're only kidding yourself when you think a friend will stand up and take a 10, 20, 30-year sentence to save your freedom. Most likely he's going to cooperate with the government to gain his freedom. And when that friend starts telling, it doesn't stop with just you. They want his whole life story involving everyone he's ever known, everything he's ever done. He may even lie or embellish on facts. The bottom line is he's going to tell them whatever they want to hear. The story's the same no matter where you go. You hear stories like, I was only doing a favor for a friend. Or how about, my best friend sold everything I had so that I'd have some money while I was in prison. I'm still waiting for his check. Hey, maybe it's in the bank drawing interest. What do you think? Or how about the guy whose best friend tells him he'll take care of his wife and kids while he's in prison? And he ends up living with her and his kids, calling him daddy. Everybody needs a friend like that. Everybody has a few. They just don't know it. Not yet. around, hoping for a letter or card from just one friend. As years go by, those letters and cards become fewer and fewer. All those friends who promised to stay by your side, to give you strength, send money, or just give you moral support have disappeared, vanished into thin air. Well, they all have lives and families of their own. You can't really blame them for getting on with their own lives, but it doesn't stop you from wishing that they wouldn't have forgotten yours. Prison life is a life where you're never alone, but you're always lonely. After all these years of being locked up, and I've got 20 years in now, I found out that my only real friends are my mom and dad. They've been behind me my whole life. They've never been ashamed of me. No one's ever had higher hopes for me. It's hard to wake up one morning to realize that for every day I've done in prison, my mom and dad have done it with me, day for day. I didn't always realize this. I always felt like they didn't understand. It wasn't until I had teenage kids of my own that I realized my mom and dad was young once too. Just like me. Just like your mom and dad. Try talking to them once without holding back. You never know. You might find a real friend.
Next story finds JB on his way to the weigh cage for his daily workout. With the 24-year sentence, he's had plenty of time to reflect on friends. A true friendship is said to be priceless, yet being that true friend cost JB 24 years of his life. Was the price too high? Let's see what he has to say about friends now.
My name is JB. I'm an inmate at the Correctional Institute of Phoenix, Arizona. I basically want to talk about our so-called friends. You know, the ones we feel got our backs. See, don't look for your so-called friends to be down for you when you come to prison. Believe me, I know. Every day I'm reminded of my so-called friends. The ones I'd have given my last dime for. The ones I'd have given my very life. Especially the ones that my mom called son. That's the one that stood up in court and testified against me to save himself. See, to be straight up, you don't have many friends when you come to prison. But you do have family. And sometimes family ain't there for you either. And you may have a few homies who look out for you every once in a while. If that be the case, then it's all good and well. But see, in my situation, my support came from my family. My biggest supporter being my mother. And maybe all homies aren't like the so-called homies that I had. But imagine 85% of them proved to be just like them. Got 17 years left on the 23-year bid. And not one single homie of mine has been to visit me. Not one. Not one has been to check on my two sons to see if they were all right or needed anything. Not even my best friend that I named godfather to my first child has been to check on me. And you may feel that I don't know how to pick my friends, and that may be the case. But if that is the case, then picture this. Only 15% of us do know how. Right? Out of sight, out of mind. If you want to gangbang and represent your hood, and you feel like your homies got your back, then remember this. See, I've been there and I've done that. All we did for the homie who died for the hood was pour our liquor in his memory. His family was minus a member. His mother was missing a son, and his homie spilled drink. Yeah, fine tribute. Your real friends are the ones that tell you to get your act together because they love you and they don't want to see nothing happen to you. Real friends aren't visiting your woman's crib more than they visit you in these jails. Real friends aren't answering your home phone when you call only 3 months after you've been arrested. Now my 1-year-old son sees my so-called friend as being his daddy. And what can I do? Nothing. Nothing but accept it. My friends had my funeral the day I was arrested. Now one of them acknowledges the fact that I still exist. I made a lot of friends out there and I was kind to them all. Some friends I bought, and most friends I earned. Earned by being a true friend. Not one of them remembers me now that I need them. Out of sight, out of mind.
Friends, you look around and you see yourself surrounded by friends. Some of them grew up with you. Some you met along the way. Friends. Well, friends to what extent? Until they don't need you anymore? Until the pressure is on? When things get tough? Where are the people you trusted with your life? Where? Suddenly, they don't even know you. They testify against you, lie about you, betray you. Friends. I'm not saying I don't have real friends. What I'm saying is, I should have looked around and seen who my real friends were. Since the age of 14, I ran the streets. I started hanging around the older guys I looked up to and thought were my friends. They treated me right. They bought me food, clothes. They even gave me money. Yeah, those were my true friends. What I didn't realize was that they had me doing their dirty work. I sold drugs without realizing what I was doing. I was too young to understand. They had me believing it was just so cool. Now that I look back, I see I wasn't the only one being manipulated by so-called friends. Many youngsters followed in my footsteps, being taken care of like me. Sadly, many of them are dead now. I'm just one of the lucky ones. I'm still alive to share this with you. Eventually, I became a gang member. I grew up with them, so I automatically became one of them. People looked up to me because I had a lot of money and older friends that looked out for me. You see, I made some money while my friends were getting rich. I didn't see much profit. That's because they were keeping most of it, sometimes all of it. I even did time for my older friends. I earned a reputation and had lots of friends. Friends that I trusted with my life. I even would have given my life for them. I was there for them, took care of them, was always there for them. It seems so long ago, yet I remember it like if it was just yesterday. Walking into prison, standing in front of that judge to receive a 12.5-year sentence. I was sitting there in chains thinking to myself, my friends will always be there for me and my family. You see, I knew my friends were real. I took care of them. I looked out for them. I was always there for them, no matter what. When I was in the county jail fighting my case, they all promised to take care of me and my family and look over my kids like they were one of their own. They told me not to worry about money. And you know what? I believed them. But was I wrong? I've been down 7 years and haven't yet received a letter or postcard from one of them. Sure, they stopped by to see my family for the first few months, making lots of promises. Yes, promises that they never followed through with any of them. Now when they see my wife, they say hi and act like nothing is wrong. But what hurts me the most is that those were my true friends, the ones I put my life on the line for. and the ones that I would have given my life for. Sad, isn't it? You see those two guys over there playing handball? Their story's not much different. They had friends. Now, they're just wondering what happened to their so-called friends. I guess I can't complain, because I do have some real friends. They never left my side, and have always been there for me. They're my parents, the people I turn my back on, the ones I call crazy whenever they try to give me advice I didn't want to hear, the ones I hurt the most. They didn't leave me. They come see me, send me money, hold no grudges against me. Those are my true friends. How many of us have someone we can call a true friend?
Whether I call them friends,
Partners, homies, compadres, or the gang.
Whenever I let anyone else do my thinking for me, I was letting myself out of the picture.
The big picture.
I was setting myself up for the fall.